Hi guys, welcome back to the 12 Days of Foundation, day number 3. If you missed the first 2 days, I will have them linked down below, along with timestamps. If you'd like to skip ahead during the review, I'll be doing a flash photo test, showing it to you in natural light, and of course, wearing it throughout the entire day. You know the drill. Today, we are reviewing a foundation brand that I have never reviewed, and it is the Bakerie Insta Bake. I didn't try their initial launch. I had kind of planned on it, but it's a little bit tricky to get in Canada, and then people were saying it was really matte and dried super fast, and I was like, I don't know if that's really my jam. So I figured when I was in the United States recently, I would pick this up. I got it at Ulta. It is the Insta Bake Aqua Glass foundation, which I didn't realize it was called Aqua Glass until I just looked on the website. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, I picked this foundation up at Ulta in the United States. It retails for $34 American. You are getting 0.9 fluid ounces in here, so a smidge less than the average size of a full foundation, which is a full fluid ounce. If you weren't aware as well, Ulta will be coming to Canada, I believe in 2021 or 2022. I don't have any more information than that. That's all I saw, and I don't know where it's coming first or if they're gonna have Beauty Bakery, but I'm hoping that that means that we'll be able to get our hands on brands like this. You can also shop from the Beauty Bakery website or Ulta as well. I've shopped from there and had a good experience. So I'm going to wear this foundation in the shade 325N, and because I was able to pick this up in store, I feel like it is a pretty good match. And as always, I will prime this half of my face, so let's go ahead and do that. So I've gone ahead and pumped out 2 pumps on my face, and as I mentioned before, I have been buying more neutral foundations over warm foundations lately. It kind of depends on what kind of warm it is, if it's like a golden warm or a yellow warm, but I find I was wearing very yellow foundations for a long time. Oh, what is this hair? Come on. And I feel like more kind of golden peach is definitely my undertone, because I always knew that I had like a warmer undertone, so that to me just kind of meant yellow. But in playing around some more, I'm actually kind of sometimes on the neutral side. But neutral to certain brands can look so pink, it can look gray, so it really depends brand to brand. But something to keep in mind if you tend to be a similar shade to me. And I haven't tried much from Beauty Bakery actually. I have their flower powder, which I'm going to try today. They sent that to me a while back. And then I also have a liquid lipstick from them. But that's pretty much it. I really wanted to get their setting spray, but when I went into Ulta recently in Buffalo, it was like Christmas had already started. This was in the beginning of November, or like mid-November. No, beginning of November. And it was like so busy that I just walked out. I was like, I can't. I was like, I want to go to Trader Joe's. So food won over Beauty Bakery in that case, but I do want to try that setting spray. So I think you can see I get quite a bit of coverage out of this foundation. It's also cruelty-free and vegan, if that's important to you. Always a nice bonus either way, I feel like. And it says it's supposed to give full coverage, poreless finish to the skin, and of course be Insta-worthy as it is Insta-Bake. So I do really like the way that this looks, and it's supposed to be, again, more hydrating than their original formula, and I think you can see that there's definitely more sheen on my skin. I mean, I didn't try the original one, but from what I saw about that, it was quite matte. And although I really loved matte foundations for a long time, I've kind of gotten more into like a natural finish foundation. And like I said, I put 2 pumps out, so it's not like crazy full coverage. I also use a sponge, which is going to affect the coverage as well, but I'm really happy with it. Like, this is kind of as far as I want my coverage to go nowadays. If my voice as well sounds low and my eyes look puffy, it's because both are true. I don't know what's going on, but I normally don't have like a morning voice, kind of tired face. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm awake, but right now it is very early, and December is just crazy in this industry, and then on top of that I've added the 12 days of foundation, so I don't know if that's catching up with me. I tend to give myself the cold or flu during the filming of the 12 days of foundation just because it's so much. But anyways, in case I sound a little bit different, that's what's going on. But let's go ahead and put on the concealer. So I'm going to apply the concealer in 007 Cream Brulee, which the concealers have some pretty cute names. It's got an interesting applicator as well. I don't know if you can see, but the whole thing kind of comes to a point. And this again is supposed to give you like really flawless coverage. It says that it's supposed to do all the work of a filter, but at the same time be hydrating. So I let the concealer set under my eyes a little bit, just like I do normally. I think you can see as well, it oxidizes slightly. Like this is a little bit of a deeper shade than I normally go for in a concealer. But it does oxidize just a little bit, nothing crazy. I know a lot of people do not like it when I go too light under the eyes anyways. Sometimes I take it too far, you know, I'm a person. I do really like the coverage, and one thing I notice about this is that after I let it kind of set under my eyes and then pat it out with my fingers, the coverage really sticks around. Like I find some concealers I need to go back and add a little bit more, or it's like the coverage disappears, but I find this one really kind of sticks around. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some flash photos, put on the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Okay, rest of my makeup is on, and as soon as I powdered my under eyes, I feel like I noticed it looked like the moisture had just been sucked out of my under eyes, and I do have like some fine lines there. I feel like most people do, but nothing that majorly I notice as much as I would say I noticed today. And I did use the Beauty Bakerie Flour Powder in the yellow shade under my eyes, not on the rest of my face, but I feel like it does look, it was the first time I've actually paired those two together. I've worn the powder before and I've worn the concealer before, but I've actually never paired them together. So I feel like as a concealer that's supposed to be hydrating, I wouldn't necessarily pair those two together if you do tend to have drier under eyes, because I have worn this concealer before and I didn't notice this as much as when I used like my other, like I used my Makeup Revolution powder that I've talked about a bunch, the Bacon Blot, but something to keep in mind, because I don't know, like it's definitely more hydrating than their original, but the original I believe was quite matte under the eyes. So something to keep in mind if you do tend to have drier under eyes, it may not be as hydrating as you need it to be, but I do still think it looks good. I think the rest of my face looks good as well, and in flash photos I thought it looked great too. So it does claim to be kind of like a Insta filter foundation, so you would hope that it would look good in photos, and I definitely set this. I don't feel like it dries down super matte by any means, and I set everything anyway. So I thought here in my lighting that it looked good. You can see there's quite a bit of a sheen to my face. It did set down a little bit more after that, and then I took a photo in a very dark, completely dark room with flash, and again I thought it looked quite flawless in photos as well in a dark room, and the camera's quite close to my face, there's a flash, so it's a very extreme situation. Not many folks take pictures like that. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to wear this for a few more hours, and I will check back with you in some natural light because the sun is barely even up. It's like just after 7 now, so I'll check back if the sun or something comes out. It's the dead of winter right now. So anyways, when I get a little bit of natural light, I'll be back. Hello, natural light check-in time. Wanted to show you how everything was looking in real life as opposed to in my studio. I think you can see that it doesn't look oily or anything like that. It is starting to feel like just a little heavy on my skin, and it might just be that like I'm home editing, like I just edited day 1 and day 2 of the 12 days of foundation. So it feels like a lot of makeup just to be wearing at home, because it is a more full coverage foundation. I also feel like if you have fine lines on your face, you may have issues with this settling. I can kind of see it trying to settle here and on my forehead as well, as fine lines start to form on my face. So something to keep in mind there, but otherwise not oxidizing. Blush and bronzer highlight is all still in place, and I don't feel like it oxidized. Did I say that? And I will say it looks like makeup on your face. Like most makeup does, like it's kind of obvious depending on how much makeup you wear and you know what you're looking for, but it definitely is not like a natural finish foundation in my opinion, and it's not really supposed to be. It's definitely more on the matte side and something that's more full coverage. But that being said, it doesn't look super cakey on the skin. I would just err on the side of caution when actually applying it to your face to make sure that you don't apply too much. And if you do have issues with like acne or rosacea or something that you're trying to cover up, like put it heavier in those spots, and then like for example if your forehead is is clear, then try to leave a little less product on your forehead. Anyways, that's a total other tangent, but yeah, looks good so far. But I will check back with you, I was gonna say at the end of the evening, but I put on this foundation at like 6 something this morning, so it'll be early evening that I see you. Okay, we are back. It is the end of the day. Still not that late in the day, but it has come to the end of my foundation day. We'll see. As you can see, I am a little bit shiny. I was actually just kind of cleaning and organizing and then lazing around, so a little bit of shininess on my skin, which I don't mind. some blotting will get rid of that. But what I will say is it does feel and look a little bit heavy on my skin, especially as the oil started to come through. And one big thing that this foundation says is that it's poreless, and I don't feel like that's the case. I don't have any major issues with pores, but I don't feel like my skin, it looks smoother to begin with, and I feel like most foundations do look smoother to begin with, and then they kind of sink into your face. But I wouldn't consider this a particularly poreless foundation. It looks good in the sense that like it has a more leaning fuller coverage, so it's gonna look more flawless. But I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about this. I definitely have other foundations that I really love that I would choose over this one. I don't see this something that is going to be added into my regular rotation, but it's really going to depend on what your skin needs, because I'm not that into more full coverage foundations at the moment, and I'm definitely into something that has a bit of a lighter finish and a more natural, or lighter coverage and a more natural finish. By no means is this like horrible and cakey or a mess or anything. Under my eyes though, I will say there's a lot of creasing and a lot of just like dryness and whatnot, which I don't tend to get like sometimes at the end of a really long day. Also, it will depend on how much concealer you actually put on under your eyes. Perhaps I put on a little bit too much based on how full coverage of a concealer it is, but yeah, it's okay. I think that if you have an oilier skin type, a combo oily, you'll like it if you're looking for something that's a little more full coverage. But if you tend to like something that's more natural, this is not really going to be it. I mean, it's called Insta Bake, so I don't expect it to be that way. I don't dock points for that, but just on personal preference, it's not something that I see myself reaching for all the time. I do like that they are cruelty-free and vegan. I love that they have a great shade range. I do hope still that Beauty Bakerie comes to Canada when Ulta does. I think their packaging is gorgeous and their whole branding is just really, really fun. But for me, I don't know, I'm kind of like, whatevs on this. I'll keep it around for a little while, but it's not, like I said, something I see myself reaching for over some of my other favorite foundations, which you've heard me mention time and time again. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow, day 4 of the 12 days of foundation. And if you would like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!